What's up and welcome to Party Invite, where we invite you to a gaming community of inclusiveness and diversity. Your party members today are Thomas Egan.
Hey, what's up?
Debbie Hill.
Hello, friends.
And I'm your party leader, Chris Mowry. Our companion on today's episode is the Chief Business Development Officer for the Unified Esports Association and President of Local Legends Gaming, Yahaya.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Pew, pew, pew.
Abdul, tell people a little about yourself for those who are unfamiliar with you.
Cool. So the elevator pitch. I'm a Kansas City native. Grew up in South KC. Came out of Ruskin High School. I did my undergrad at K-State where I studied computer science. Worked in IT for about 12 years. Worked for different companies like VML, Apple, Lexmark, all kinds of companies. Last company I worked for was the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City here.
Oh, yeah.
Before I took my, leap of faith into entrepreneurship. But about 3 years ago, I started a company by the name of Local Legends Gaming. We're best known for our video game truck. 24-foot-long climate-controlled self-powered trail allows us to take casual and competitive gaming events just about anywhere. I also developed an academic curriculum where I teach youth how to go from playing in their bedroom to playing on a main stage, and everything in between. So the value of like content creation and stuff like that. Just over a year ago in November, my company was acquired by a larger esports company, formerly known as Midwest Esports. But we went through a rebrand, and we're now known as the Unified Esports Association, headquartered out of Wichita, Kansas, ran by Ramsey Drumel. I'm a WSU alum, but I sit as the Chief Business Development Officer for that organization, where I develop scalable options. So any product that we have, I show how to get to that million-person mark. I still reside over Local Legends and all of its operations here in the greater Kansas City area. Then lastly, I am fortunate that I reside as the chairman for the Kansas City Sports Commission's Esports Coalition. We're a group of esports professionals and related industry individuals in Kansas City working together to shape esports for the greater Kansas City area. Provide an opportunity, event, and knowledge for the esports industry here. So a lot, all video games at the end of the day, but a lot.
That was spoken like someone who has to have said that very often.
Yeah.
You just like break up the script, like here's my diatribe,
Yeah, that's the elevator pitch.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you for coming on. This is going to be a great episode. We are going to get into how to get into the ground floor of esports and talk to you a little bit about esports itself. But as always, let's start with what we've been playing. Thomas.
Oh, you're starting with me first.
Starting with
you.
Well,
I am simple because everything that I played this week, I've discussed already. I finished Cardo on my brunch special this past weekend. I beat that in 2 sittings. It was about 6 hours long. I got stuck on a couple puzzles. I was pretty mad at a couple puzzles, actually. Most of that game was very relaxing, except I got to a type of puzzle where you have to rotate the blocks, and they're like Tetris blocks. So the rest of that game, you're using a 1x1 square at all times, and then when you get to basically the final area, you're using these pieces that are stuck together like Tetris blocks. And just like when I played The Witness, it was a nightmare. It was terrible. Apparently, my brain is just not wired to rearrange shapes that way because I am terrible at it in all games. So besides that very frustrating part, that game was really fun. I don't think it should have been as hard as it was. I just specifically struggle with that one mechanic. But I really liked that game. It was very charming. It looked great. The music was very chill. I mean, it was a great thing to play with a cup of coffee and a blanket.
Yeah.
So once again, I played that on Game Pass, but I really, really enjoyed that. Chris, we played some Hitman on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We did some escalations. We did hammer time. We completed a challenge where you go into this base, you never change outfits, and you never use any item except for the hammer that you find.
Oh my gosh.
We did it. I messed it up several times, and Chris had the palm of his hand glued to his forehead as he watched me play. Because the criteria was you cannot pick up any other item. And so naturally, I would just walk up and pick stuff up and be like, "Oh, shouldn't have done that."
And you can't be seen, so he would like, he's not good at sneaky, so he's just kind of like running around with a hammer in his hand.
I spent a decent amount of hours in that game now, and I walked out of this bathroom. My target is in front of me, and I'm supposed to knock him out with the hammer somehow, without him seeing. And even though I've spent all this time playing the game, I forgot that you can throw your items. And so the guy he's walking away from me, and then he turns around and just looks straight at me. And Chris is thinking, oh, well, obviously he's going to throw the hammer at him and knock him out. And I just panicked and sprinted at him and totally failed the mission. And Chris is just like, why?
What's happening?
So eventually we did it. But that was a good time. Those challenges are pretty goofy. Last week we played an episode with Cam, the Camdy Man, where you infiltrate this mansion, this fashion show, dressed as a clown. It was pretty ridiculous. It was pretty funny. But that was a great time, and I'll continue to do that every Tuesday on the Party Invite Twitch channel. And then Valheim and Don't Starve, which we talked about extensively last week. Mm-hmm. I had Don't Starve dreams last night. I collected twigs in the forest all night. Not sure if I liked it or not, but I am deep in those games right now.
Were the twigs shaped like tetrominoes?
What is a tetramino?
Like a tetramino is the tetra shapes.
Oh gosh. Well, see, I put that out of my head. I don't need that bad voodoo in my life. I won't even learn the name of it because I hate it that much.
I'll put the voodoo on your giant.
So, yeah, I am so deep in those games. For anybody who didn't hear last week's episode, Valheim and Don't Starve are two pretty successful survival games. Valheim is chill. Don't Starve is like freezing, like the kind of freezing that will kill you. It's not very forgiving, but we have a bunch of people playing both games, and it's really a blast. So if you're looking for a new game, check out one of our streams on that and join our community. It's a really fun time.
Yeah.
Sweet. Abdul, what have you been playing?
I am a Call of Duty player. I play an unreal amount of hours. From about 9:30 to at least 1 o'clock every day of the week.
Yep.
And then when my squad's not on, I continue to slowly work through Cyberpunk Corpo class because I want to, working in corporate esports, what other class would you do?
Right.
Is to be corporate class. So I do play on a PS5, so I don't have the same experience as everybody else. It is an enjoyable game.
I enjoyed the hell out of it on PC. So, yeah, I didn't have those issues.
There's a lot of that, but I'm strictly Call of Duty Warzone. I need that sensation of last man standing. So
now, have you done this new Season 2 just started today, right?
I think so, this morning.
So
yep.
I'm kind of confused on this new zombies thing that they're doing.
No, they made it zombies?
Is that available in Warzone, or is that only available through Black Ops?
So yes, it is in Warzone. You can land on what's called the Shipwreck. It's another site on the map over by the prison. You can land in there. It is a cluster fudge of players that land in that area. Like live players land there. But if you go into the actual hull of the ship, there's a task to try to kill 40 zombies. Because there are so many players that drop there, I have not successfully done it yet. But I also forgot that the season was releasing, and I just got hit with an update like at 11 o'clock Central Time.
Oh no.
Yep.
So next thing I know, I got in and the game was there. So but my squad's very focused. We try to get our kills up, get our wins up. So they were like, we'll do this once, and we're going back to
we're not playing around. We're here to win.
Yeah, I re-downloaded it, or I re-downloaded Black Ops and was going to try that out, but haven't done it yet. So hopefully sometime this week.
I have a question about the zombies. So every time they come out with a Call of Duty game, of course, zombies is going to be in it. Zombies is dead to me. I'm so bored of zombies. It's overdone. It's canceled. It's over. Right? We have to endure The Walking Dead for like half of my life, and like zombies are just everywhere. So did they do something to make it fresh? Like for instance, when you kill someone in the game, do they then turn into a zombie that you can like kill for like torture zombie quest or something? Like, do they do anything interesting at all with it, or is it just there's a bunch of zombies here, go kill them?
So there've been some shifts. There was during the fall, during Halloween time, they had a time where if you got there was a zombie feature on Warzone, so you could go into that queue. And if you got killed, you turn to a zombie, and you can go and try to kill the other live players to get turned back into a human.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Which was actually really fun because you can just if you're not playing seriously, you can just terrorize everyone in the game who's trying to seriously win the game. But your zombie had superhuman jumping abilities, so it could jump 200 meters or so across the board, which is really enjoyable. But the traditional zombie mode that's on there, it feels very much like one of my favorite games, all-time games, like Diablo.
Okay.
Where you are leveling up your character, so it feels very RPG-ish, but not the weapon RPG, but
relevant.
Yeah, fair.
Because actually, I would not have thought of that if you hadn't said something. So
yeah. So you're building up your class, you're building up your skill sets, but it's not quite like like Diablo, where you're trying to build a class up. So it is new. It's not great, but it's new. I'll take new because I play a lot of Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can get a little more for my $60, I'll take it.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. I'm actually very interested in Cold War, you know. I don't know why. I've just been watching a lot of people play it, and I'm just like, it looks like so much fun, but it's Call of Duty. Am I a Call of Dutyer now? Am I a COD? What's happening to me?
As a PC player, you probably enjoy it. It's just with the PS5 still having limited hard drive space and not opening up the ability to expand to an additional M.2 drive, you got to choose what's on your console. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I only have enough space for Warzone and Cyberpunk. If I download anything else, I can't update anything.
Right.
So I'm like,
that's got to be killer.
When we played Hitman the other day, it didn't occur to me that I should check for an update before I logged on. So when the update hit and it failed to load because my memory was full, I once again had to go pick a game to delete. It's brutal.
I have a base PS4. This is like I got this when like there were 6 games on the shelf because I had to play the new 2K when it came out, and so I've had to be doing that for years. You know, just like constantly deleting stuff off of there to make room for things. So that doesn't bother me that much that when I shift over to PS5, that's going to be the issue. And I also probably won't have Call of Duty downloaded on it, so it won't take up most of the space.
It's just crazy that, you know, now 2 generations later, because the PS3 kind of had that problem too, we still have that issue.
Well, I worked in IT back then, so I conveniently had access to larger hard drive for a really cheap rate. So that was the first time I updated my hard drive, and I just ran with it since then. But actually a party inviter group, I sold my PS4 Pro to them for very cheap rates so they could enjoy it. So I don't have that way to get back and play all those games I was hoarding on my PS4 anymore.
Oh no!
So it's all good. I'll wait for the update.
Devi, what have you been playing?
Well, I actually have been dipping back into roguelikes again. So this morning I actually played a game called Gunfire Reborn, which is still in early access. But when I had first access to it, I think it was last year. I can't remember exactly when it launched, but it's a lot of fun. You play as, well, the main characters are like these animals. And the first one you start off with is like this cat that's kind of a Puss in Boots type. And his name is the Crown Prince. And it's kind of like a looter-shooter roguelike. So you'll travel through the lands based on like the Chinese mythology or whatever. And collect different types of guns that have different types of perks. Or elemental properties to them. Like think of it like Borderlands weaponry. You know, they all have properties and different perks and everything. It's basically like that. But it's really cartoonish, really stylized. It's got really calming music. But when I was playing, I was actually listening to Nujabes, the duo that's responsible for the opening for Samurai Champloo. Like I was just listening to their whole OST or their however you say it, their whole discography. I was just listening to that because it was a really chill tea time morning stream. But I've been playing that. I've been playing Risk of Rain 2 recently again, and not a lot so far has changed there. You know, I'm always playing the Huntress. I'm always running and gunning through like the beautiful realm and getting all the robot golems and everything. But what I really wanted to dive into was the Outrider demo that released this morning. And I was only playing Gunfire in order to pass the time until that happened. But then when it launched, they had this whole bottlenecking issue where people kept trying to log on and they couldn't. And the people that were logged on kept getting disconnected. Because
that's what you want.
Yeah. We haven't learned our lesson to have the appropriate amount of server capacity at launch of a big overhyped demo of a game yet. In 2021, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
you're
games are new.
We have the money. Like do the thing. I'm just
saying.
But it was a lot of fun. You know, it's very Destiny-like. Very. It's like Destiny and Borderlands had a baby. Honestly.
Yeah, and throw a bit of like Gears of War and Remnant from the Ashes in there, and that's basically what you got.
Yeah.
Is it a cover shooter?
It's a cover shooter. Yeah. I had to learn that the hard way. I had to really get used to the cover because at first I was finicking with it, and then I was just like, why am I in the cover all the time? Why do I have to? And then I kept trying to get in the cover and then move from cover to cover, and I would just unstick from the wall and then re-stick back to the wall, and I'm like, no, this is not what I
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a little finicky at points, but...
Yeah. It seems like everybody, well, at least today, everybody has been very hyped for Outriders, and I couldn't tell you anything that you guys haven't typed in chat. I don't know anything about that game.
I've been so hyped for Outriders since I started seeing a lot of their YouTube stuff. And it's like one of those things that's always in like one of the conferences, right? Or one of those like state of plays, and it's in there for like 5 minutes of it. And you're like, huh, that looks kind of interesting. I wonder what that's like. So I've been hyped for it, but once the demo was announced and stuff, I feel like I was able to get like 8 people on board. Just being like, yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That looks cool. So yeah, it's like very Destiny-like and looter shootery. What class are you playing, Devi?
Well, the trickster, obviously.
The trickster. Yeah.
I'm always up to something.
Mm-hmm. And I picked the Devastator because I was like, oh, cool. Well, it's like a tank type, and he can give buffs to people. But what I didn't realize is that in the demo, you only get access to 4 of the skills, and the skills that I really want to use and like play around with are not in the demo. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just a tank. That's like my role. I don't get to buff anybody or do anything cool. But it's pretty fun. I was kind of talking to Thomas about it earlier. Some of the writing is a little...
It's very Jarhead. It's Jarhead jargon, for sure.
Yeah. And like just the cheesy action movie stuff. Like there's a lot of what the fuck is going on? That kind of stuff. Those kind of things, which apparently your female character talks the exact same way.
It's the same
just in a
when you
female
said
voice.
The line earlier,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh yeah, I said that. It's like the same dialogue, just
Like
with a feminine voice.
when shit starts getting weird, he's like
feminine, quote unquote,
right,
feminine voice.
When stuff starts going haywire, he's just like, I'm seeing some weird shit down here, and there's just like dams and fuck words that are just like inserted in places they don't really need to be.
Every possibility.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, but it's like, they're like my favorite part so far, and I don't know why this brought me so much joy. It just like reminded me, I was like, oh yeah, this isn't supposed to be serious. Like this is a over the top action movie. Is you go down, you're doing this mission where you go and you're trying to save this person, and you get into the room that he's being held in. And the people that are holding him captive are like, hey, wait, you're not supposed to be in here. And you're like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the bathroom. And then you just start fucking murdering everyone. It's like, yeah, that was like really cheesy, but I actually really enjoyed that. It's like the right amount of cheesiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a game where you're just going to be, I don't want to say like mindlessly doing tasks and like doing missions with friends, like that kind of like humor and like over the topness is like totally fine by me. And it seems like with the news of like Anthem like completely being done, people that enjoyed that are probably going to enjoy this, and this is going to be their new. The 5 people that enjoyed Anthem are really going to love this.
I really do appreciate how much levity the dialogue does provide. I just wish I didn't. I'm such a bro in the game, and I hate it. I'm like, because all of the things that you say as like your male character, Chris, I say as the female character, and so I'm just like, yeah, I'm like one of the fucking boys. What's going on? Let's fuck shit up, and I'm just like.
This is a fun Devi character. This is great.
Yeah, I love it.
Like I'm basically about to lesbianize all the women in the game. I'm just saying, like, I already have my eyes on one, and I myself am bisexual, so I don't have really a problem with that. But like, it's just so, it's like you said, it's so cheesy, it's over the top.
Yeah, but like this is the team that did Bulletstorm and Painkiller and Gears of War Judgment. So it is when people die, there is an explosion of body parts and blood, which is always fun when it happens. You're just like, it's
very visceral, and the sounds that come along with it are just.
So is this game rated T for teen or?
Oh no,
E for everyone for sure.
Yeah, E for everyone. Yeah.
Maybe the team that got held back like 10 years in high school, like they're full-grown adult now.
Yeah, man. When we play Valheim, like everything's low poly and really chill, and then you like shoot a pig or like hit it with your weapon or something, and it's like a piñata of blood where it's just like, that is alarming. This escalated quickly.
That's this game every 5 seconds. So yeah, it's like piñatas of blood every 5 seconds.
Man,
it's a good time. I'm looking forward to the full release. Like there's a lot of meat to this of like speccing out a character, and you can respec at any time for no cost. Like you can just be like, this isn't working. Nice. I want to completely change.
Dude, it stinks playing with your friends, and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to do this build, and you show up, and you and your friend have the same build, and it's like, well, one of us is gonna have to change.
It's not me.
I'm the trendsetter, honey, not the trend getter. So go on.
And you can hot swap your skills as well. So you get like 3 like left bumper, right bumper, both bumpers, and you can hot swap those even in combat. If you're like, hey, I actually don't like this skill, I want to use this other one. So
are your skills just like weapon based use, or is it like magical? Or...
Yeah, so you have like magical abilities that were caused from this. Oh god,
I wouldn't say quite magical. I would akin them more to like Bioshock's abilities, where they're like part of you. You know?
Like you are touched by some aura anomaly. That's what it is on this alien planet, and now you have abilities.
You get caught in like this cosmic storm, and then everything is you choose your class, and then those are the powers you get.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're pretty cool, and eventually, like in the full game, there's a lot of interesting modding you can do to your weapons. Like in Destiny, there was always be like a weapon that would do something cool, like this shoots 2 rockets instead of 1, or like whatever, right? Like it'd have like a cool, like on the exotics would have like a cool mod to it that's only on that gun, right? And in this game, if like let's say I got a gun that like when you shot somebody, a lightning bolt would come down and strike them. If I got that early on and it was like lower level, and I ended up getting a better exotic that had like it froze enemies, I could then break down the electricity one and then take that mod and pop it, add it, and so now it freezes and electrocutes people. So like there's some real deep stuff that you can end up doing here where things are actually going to feel like, no, this is my gun. And that's something in Destiny that I always just could not stand, was people would be like, oh, you got to use this gun, man. It's the only way to beat this. And I'm like, I don't want to use that gun. Like everybody uses that. Like I want there to be like some ownership of.
It's like there are
my
a million
items.
guns here. How in the world are you telling me that
there's only 3
I have to use one specific thing?
I just
I don't want
recently
them
learned that they
chance
had
to beat
combat
this.
bows.
Right.
What was that, Debbie?
I said I just recently learned that they had combat bows. Like I didn't even know bows were in the game, like at all.
There's combat bows in Outright.
In Destiny.
In Destiny,
Oh,
no,
in Destiny.
in
I was
Destiny.
like, what?
No, Destiny. But like I always hear about these same guns over and over and over. I didn't even know that there were bows in the game, and that really surprised me.
Yeah, that must be a Beyond Light thing. But yeah, it feels like it kind of iterates on a lot of the stuff that like made Destiny fun, but like there was like a limit to it, right? Like you'd be like, oh, this is really great, but now I'm kind of done with this. There's nothing else like keeping me going. It feels like there's more stuff to do here, and stuff like they would do in Anthem, where like you're basically just increasing the difficulty. Like there's world tiers, so you can go back through and do missions that you've already done before, but you can do them at a way more difficult level, get better drops, like those kind of things. It just seems like there's a lot of meat here. Like I think the full story is like 40 hours, and then there's a bunch of stuff after that. Like there's expeditions, I believe they're called, that are like the end game content. And because it's not a live game, there's like the game is a complete package when it comes out. There's no like, and you have to wait for this. Like wait for, it's all there. So
right. And at least there is an end game.
Yes. Yeah. Always want us. I also played a little bit of something that I was actually surprised about how amazing it is. I played Slay the Spire on my phone with touch via xCloud.
Yeah.
As long as your Wi-Fi is good, you're golden, and it totally works way better than I ever expected it to. The times I would always try it though is when I was like up in my bedroom, which is the farthest you could possibly be away from the router. So every time I would try it, I was like, man, this just sucks. It doesn't work. And then when I played it where the Wi-Fi was actually good, it was great.
That's good to hear.
I almost, with that second character, Thomas, you were talking about, the one with the green guy.
Silent.
Yeah. I almost beat it. I was on the final boss, because it's 3 levels, right? Yeah. So I was on the 3rd level boss, and I died.
Oh.
Nice.
Womp womp.
Yeah, the only time I've beaten the game was only like the 2nd or 3rd time I ever played that character. And the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, surely I've done something wrong. Like, the game's about to be like, nah, you messed up. This isn't going to work. And then I beat it. It was just like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
I wish I could get into games on my phone. I could just never get into it. There's something about sitting back on a larger screen or a television screen that really does it for me. I could never get with playing games on my phone.
Yeah, it was like I was like watching something on TV yesterday, and like during commercial breaks, I was like just sitting there playing it, and it was working great. But there is one thing about xCloud that is like incredibly frustrating. They put games on there that you have to play with a controller. Like there is no way you can play it with touch on the screen, like Dead Cells and like Celeste.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you can't, that's too exact.
Yeah, like the time I bought Downwell on my phone, I loved it so much on PlayStation that I was like, I'll buy it on my phone. Terrible mistake.
Oh, I can play Downwell on my phone just fine.
Oh gosh, my thumbs are always in the wrong place.
But like I noticed that Spiritfarer works amazing on the phone. Like because there's not, it's a little platformy, but it's not like exact platformy. It's like adventure.
Yeah.
So that works
after
great,
you were talking about playing on your phone, I tried playing Slay the Spire with the touch controls on my Switch. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been playing Into the Breach with touch controls, which let me take a moment to just be angry to vent to you guys.
Why are you mad though?
If you want to use touch controls on the Nintendo Switch, first you power on your Switch, and it says press any button to wake it. So you tap the screen 3 times, and it opens. And the very first thing it asks you is, hey, where are your controllers? So there's nothing you can do to skip past that. You have to activate your controller, and then set them on the table, and then start using your touch screen. So you cannot, like,
Well, why don't
you can
just
do
have them...
everything in the whole game except for like there's no home screen button on the actual like inside any game, but you can do touchscreen on any of it and Into the Breach, for example. But you have to plug in and have your controllers on the whole time, which sounds it's so frustrating to me.
Yeah, that sounds
weird. Because I've taken the Switch into another room and left the controllers behind. But then when I wake the system again, it's just like, hey, you have to go get your controllers just so you can lay them back down on the ground. Jeez. Like, man, why? Why
don't you just have them in your Switch? You can still use the touch features.
So actually, I take them out of my Switch because the Joy-Con drift I had isn't totally gone anymore. So when I have my Joy-Cons plugged in, they'll sometimes click different stuff. And Chris, I was playing Slay the Spire, and I tried to select one thing, and it switched at the last minute and chose something else that completely ruined my run.
Yeah,
it was not good. So
yeah,
those Joy-Cons, man. I don't want to buy a new set because they're still like $60 for a pair of Joy-Cons.
You can go get
just
those.
Doing the alcohol trick.
It's Nintendo for you, though. Nintendo is not keen for giving discounts on anything.
No. Somebody posted a meme. I could have been Scary Gary. It was Mario instead of the Drake meme, and so the top one is like buying a game for $50 when it comes out, and then the bottom meme is wait 10 years and then pay $60 when re-release.
Yeah, I think it was Scary Gary that posted that.
Yeah.
Yup.
It does sound like something he'd post.
But yeah, that's Nintendo. They do that. Let's talk about our party topic. So Abdul, based on your intro, you are clearly involved in a lot in the world of video games. So I want to break it down. I mean, I've known you for a few years now, and even in that period of time, the world of esports has changed dramatically. And so something I've learned over the past decade or so is that a lot of people, even people who are deep in the gaming world, whether they're in the industry, whether they just play video games every day, a lot of people either don't know anything about esports or they think they know enough to not be interested. I want you to break down kind of what esports is here in 2021, pandemic or otherwise, but where esports is today, what it means, who plays, who watches, who runs the show, who's in the background. And I just want you to break down what esports means to your average person today.
Yeah, so esports is a society, like every other society. There truly is level. There are the wealthy, the people who like have created something that we can't live without, so they're making money whether we want them to or not. And they're literally, it's like the people who make Similac, like whoever makes that, children gonna need that for the rest of eternity. They're always gonna be wealthy. I don't mean rich. I mean wealthy.
Yeah.
So there's people like that. These are people these are the publishers, but at the same time, they control the ball. It's not like these other industries where a law can be made and they can't do anything anymore. They can just pull their software if they don't like how the industry shifts. But I mean,
something I want to say that real quick, because I think you and I talked about this quite a while ago. It was that the idea that makes esports complicated is that if you and I want to play basketball, we pick up a basketball, we find a hoop, and we play basketball. With esports, you can't just find League of Legends outside. League of Legends is a game that someone owns, and to play that game, you have to purchase it. You have to play it on their software. When an update comes out, you have to play on that update. You don't have a choice to play on the old update, not competitively. So it makes it very interesting because you do have to have like a computer, for example, or whatever you're playing on. But even though it is very similar to traditional sports in a lot of ways, the most obvious way is that no one owns basketball. They might own the league. But with esports, you're playing a game that someone owns, and it really changes the landscape of what it means to get involved in a specific game.
Yeah, and wider scope, as much as they want you to play, they allow you to play. So I want you to play my game, but as much as you're doing it, I need you to never forget that I'm allowing you to play my game. So the moment you piss us off, I'm going to take it from you. There's nothing you can do about it. We see it all the time. That's why we have all this, Twitter talk when people in these characters get banned or whatnot. It's big because they're never going to touch that game again unless they go get like a new cell phone number, create a new account, all the other trickery to get back in. But they'll never raise the glory again because the publisher will notice who they are and kick them out again. But that is the beauty of it. Like basketball, as long as I own a ball from Spalding, I have my goal in my backyard, you can never stop me. But when it comes to like landscape, pre-COVID time, Esports is the industry of bringing people together, and that interest point is the title. But it's not really about the competitor. It's really about the experience shared. And that's why live events thrive. That's why we have these huge stadiums that are full of people. But it's not about watching the game. We watch the game at home on our lagless monitors and our multi-$1,000 PCs that we've built over many years. It's about being in that space with other people who love the game, love the characters, just like us. Like, you see me at our live events. I don't even play at the live events. I literally go there to hang out with you guys. I go there, drink a beer, talk my stuff, and I kind of just talk until I run out of, like, social energy, and I'm like, Thomas, I need to go hide for a little bit to recharge, and then I come back. But we go for that camaraderie. And the industry has learned that it's a very common business model. It's the same model as bars. We all have music and alcohol at home, but we go for the people. We want to share that experience with one another. I have this alcohol around the corner from this green screen. I could go drink if I wanted to, but you guys still see me out because of that. But for us on our end, we're in the industry. We enter the industry through the point of event services. So we create an opportunity for you guys, our consumers, to be in that space. We bring out the equipment. We work with the venue to have the tables, chairs, main staging, electricity, power, internet up and down, and that's necessary. And then we sprinkle some competition in there. That's usually the smallest part of the competition. The biggest part is the vendors for like the cosplayers and the creators out there. The free play is really like the biggest part of the space. It's just the shiny esports where it is keeps everybody focused on the competition. But that's what we do. And it's also the same reason why Local Legends was acquired by my company now is because I gather people. I provide parents and guardians a turnkey solution for their kids' birthday parties. But I keep it at their house where there's no rules. Mom and dad can cook whatever they want. They can play whatever they want. They can say whatever they want because it's right in front of their house. And they give their kids what they want. But they're also at their reach. And the benefit of it is parents get back time to be adults. I take their kids for 2+ hours and let them play video games in the trailer, and they get to talk to other adults for 2 hours, which is not something that most parents and guardians get. And there's not much difference between the video game truck event and the large-scale esports events. Parents or guardians bring their kids there, they sit them down next to other Fortniters, and they play Fortnite together. And then they get a chance to talk to other professionals that are like, hey, you here too for the same thing? Weather doesn't affect us like soccer games and football games. It's just internet, power tables, and chairs. So that's how we enter it. But the industry, it's a huge marketing scheme. It's like television, but television is kind of fading away. Radio is kind of fading away. There are businesses out there across every platform that want to sell us something. Like, look at Debbie's background. Debbie has probably $2 million worth of companies advertising platforms. Interact.
Beat me up. Get me out of here.
Someone needs to be paying Debbie for the free advertising. I mean, check it out.
I think Blizzard needs to make a phone call.
Yeah.
A lot of my stuff is from BlizzCon, I will admit. At least all the visible stuff.
But that's the same thing. I mean, we all have a computer in our pocket. And in our pocket, there's YouTube, Twitch. I almost said Mixer, Facebook Gaming. Right. But we get on there and we watch whoever our favorite players are because we want to see if someone else is sharing that same gaming experience that we shared. Mm-hmm. But the industry knows that they can subconsciously sell you whatever they want to sell you all around that gaming frame and make you feel like, oh, I need some Crest toothpaste. Like, why do I need Crest toothpaste? Because they put 17 ads around the game, mm-hmm. Or this Crest toothpaste on somebody's shoulder. I can't see what advertising. I don't know. I'm not gonna pick on you all day, Debbie, but there's some kind of advertising on your right shoulder. There's something over there. Is that G Fuel or something? No, on your actual shoulder. Is that G Fuel? The other shoulder.
Oh, my left shoulder.
Yeah,
it is G Fuel.
Right.
Yes, so that's subconscious advertising there. But that's really what it's about, and that's our livelihood. We get booked at different spaces to host the event, and then we tell them, hey, there's going to be some major advertising opportunities during the the main event. Everyone's going to look at the main stage, so I can sell you advertising on the main stage. There's going to be banners on both sides. We can put your logo on the trophy. We can put it on the stream. Now there's companies like, here's an example, Cerner. Everyone knows the Evil Empire Cerner here in Kansas City. Their target market are 40-year-old women. Cerner is a healthcare company. I'm gonna break it down. They're a healthcare company, 40-year-old women.
I thought they were like what's it called? The mapping company, like
Garmin?
You're thinking of Garmin.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I can do them for them too.
Yeah, Cerner.
Sorry, I don't have them on my shirt, so I don't know who they are.
Cerner designed like a lot of medical software.
So ideally, they connect hospitals. So you go to one hospital, put your medical record in, it pops up. They create that kind of software.
Okay.
But their target market is 40-year-old women. That's the household decision makers. If you take a look at your guardians, whether it's grandma or mom, they're usually the ones who are making the decision. If you guys have ever had health insurance and you're trying to figure out that craziness of health insurance, who do we ask? We ask our moms about it because they're the ones who have figured it out. But mom just wants to make the kids happy. So we'll go to somebody like Cerner and say, hey, you want to get your product purchased by mom. Come advertise or buy some advertisement at one of our live events. The kid is going to be like, Mom, this event was great. I won this trophy. This event was powered by Cerner. Now mom is like, who is Cerner? Oh, cool. They're a healthcare company. I do need insurance. I do need stuff like that. And it gets their product in front of mom by funneling it through their kid. Mm-hmm. Same way, like my kids are up there watching the Haunted Halloween. Right? I can hear them through my headsets right now. I've never watched an episode, but I know what it's about because I hear it through my house. They love it. My youngest kid's birthday is coming up in a month, and I know that he's gonna want some Haunted Hathaway items because he watches it all day. And I don't even know what it's about. It could be a terrorist show or something like that. but I know I want to make my kids happy, and I know that's what they always want. And then literally, I'm gonna go spend money on that. And that's the same kind of way that it works. We just glorify the game and the competitive part of it because there are some people out there who are winning hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those are the 1%ers. That's like saying, it's like the Patrick Mahomes. I will never be Patrick Mahomes. I probably will never make $500 million. There is only one Patrick Mahomes. Only other person that's like Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady, and there's only one Tom Brady. So for us, they're glorified because they're the champions. They're the ones that people aspire to be. So it's a huge world, but there's plenty of opportunities for everyone. People have to decide on what their entry point is. What most folks don't understand is that some of the most valuable people in the industry are literally you guys, the community cultivators. You guys work with the most loyal group of gamers there are. Me, if Call of Duty could piss me off tomorrow and take away Warzone, it's a lie. I'm not never gonna play the game again. But I probably wouldn't play the game for quite some time, you know. But since I purchased my own first game system as the PS3 in 2006, I have bought Call of Duty every first weekend in November is when it first used to come out. Now it's got pushed back to like October every year. I used to stand outside in the cold and get it at midnight to play it for a week before finals week would start at K-State. We're loyal. Like, Call of Duty hasn't given me anything. They've only taken my money for many, many years.
Right.
But you guys who actually cultivate community, give people a resource to find other people who share the same affinity for them, are generally the most powerful people in the space. Because you could literally tell the community to never rock with local legends again. They could say the owner of the a-hole, he hates people.
He hates
no
people.
No matter what I say on social media, they will absolutely trust you over me. Like, look at the Smash community. They only support their TOs. They're not going to go to anything else besides events that are hosted by their TOs.
Right.
So for people like me who are business men, I gotta keep you guys happy. Like, I'm thankful that we've built friendships over the years, but like I could never piss you guys off. You guys could ruin my business.
Yeah, sure. We're definitely friends.
So
I like your answer to the question because it provided us perspective on the business side of things. Like, what does esports mean for business? But then also towards the end there, you kind of brought it around and say, what does esports mean for the casual, like the layman? For business, it's about space, advertisement, money. But then for the layman, it's about experience and community and unity. And in a lot of ways, probably more than people realize, esports is very similar to just regular old sports, quote unquote. It's like you said, people go to the bar for the people, to share those experiences with. You have alcohol and whatever at home. We have video games at home, but then the esports is just...
You're completely correct on that one. So I created a class pre-COVID time called Esports as a Career. It's 4 hours long. In the very first session, we have a parental guardian session where we teach the guardians why their youth are playing for so many hours. And usually we have these parents who want to treat gaming like it's the problem when it's actually the solution to a lot of their problems. We tell them, and myself, we tell them, you're okay with your kid playing in Pop Warner football, aren't you? Like, when they turn 4 or 5, you enroll in Pop Warner football, basketball, baseball. They're like, yeah. I'm like, why? They're like, because that's what they do. I'm like, no, you do it because you know what the Super Bowl is. And you know what the NBA Finals are. That's the only reason you do it. Like, there's no other way. They can find leadership. They can find personal training in other ways. But you put them in Pop Warner football because of that. The reason you're hesitant about esports is because you don't know what the end goal is. You don't know about the high school esports that we play versus, or collegiate esports, whether it's with NACE or UCEA. You don't know about scholarship opportunities. You don't know about the semi-pro opportunities for folks just like us that sit in the seats you're sitting in right now to make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing what we've been doing for free for so many years. You don't know about the pro players who are making tons of money, more money from the advertising than they're making from the actual championship. Like, people hear the Booga winning $3 million. They don't understand how much money he made from endorsements afterwards. That's why on game day we get 16 commercials of Patrick Mahomes selling State Farm and stuff like that. Like, he's getting paid more on the commercials than he's getting paid to be on the field. Like, Lord forbid, nothing can ever happen to Patrick Mahomes. I need him for all these extra years to lead my team forward. But if God decided that this is the last year for him to play ball, there's going to be so many more advertising dollars leading up for him that he will still make that $500 million that the Chiefs organization gave him.
Yeah.
But it's folks like me, it's my job to educate those parents so that they're no longer telling us, like we were told when we were all youth, like, get off the game, go read a book. And I'm like, no, stay in the game or play a Nintendo game if you want to see how much reading there is in a game. Like, why go read a mundane book when I can, for my readers out there, books are great. But if you're like me who doesn't like to actually turn pages, play a Nintendo game. play Zelda.
Or play Disco Elysium. It has a million words in it.
And read and read and read and read. Even one of the greatest games of all time, Pokemon, had tons of reading. The Pokemon has never had words in their handheld game, like someone speaking on their handheld game. We've read all these years. It's never been a problem.
Like same with Link or with Zelda. You're reading the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I always said that I wrote a paper in high school when I discovered, I was like, wait, you'll let me write about anything I want? Okay, here we go. I did one paper that was about the practical use of video games. It was actually on epidemiology, and it's very relevant now because it was why you can study the effects of this crazy thing that happened in World of Warcraft to examine people's reaction and apply that to if there was a real epidemic in the real world for X, Y, and Z. There are helpers, there are victims, and then there are people who are either making it worse on purpose or by accident. And what do you know? It's exactly as relevant as I in high school recognized it was, because the study looked at video games as a reasonable way of studying people's behavior. Personally, World of Warcraft also taught me a huge amount of vocabulary through their items, their quest lines, all of this huge number of words that you read throughout that game. You can skip over a lot of it, but I loved those juicy details, and there's so many words that I love the word ephemeral, and ephemeral has a special place in my heart because it was the first epic item I ever got in World of Warcraft, the ephemeral talisman, it was called. But it's things like that where you need to teach people in a way that they are responsive to, that you need to have fertile soil to grow seeds. And so if, like, my understanding from the past 2 years, especially even listening, Abdul, to how you've spoken about teaching these classes, it's that you need to go to where the people are. Don't tell the people to come to you. Go to where they already are, and they will listen to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's and for people out there who are looking to start a business that is within this industry, that's a major key. Is you have to go to the people. The people, your customer base, they've already found their home, and you're trying to bring them out to your space. If anyone wants to get in a business opportunity that's out there, is if you can teach anyone in this space anything, and you can record yourself doing it, there is a business opportunity for you. We all want to learn without having to go and flip the pages. So no matter what your skill is, you could just teach how to do speed trials in games and record yourself and explain it. There's opportunity there for you because there's always someone else that wants to receive that.
There you go, Thomas. You can teach people how to do speedruns. You're so good.
Because I'm so good at it. I can teach people how to fail over and over, but not get frustrated. I could do that.
I mean, there's a YouTube series that's like Fail Army, where you literally just watch videos of people tripping, falling, getting hit by stuff, and they're viral videos. There are billions of people in this world. I promise you, there is somebody that wants to digest or consume that content.
What have been like some of the challenges that esports and your businesses as well have faced during this pandemic?
So I'm in the business of people gathering, and we're in a time where people are told not to gather.
Right.
So you've opened up a speakeasy. Got it.
Yeah. I will tell you, as a spectator, Abdul, was wild when the transition between Local Legends and the UAE or UEA was happening, and everything was popping off, and then everything just shut down basically overnight.
Yep.
My last live event that I hosted before the pandemic was the Super Bowl. I was literally in Florida,
that's right,
hosting a Madden tournament with NFL alumni and current NFL players and the high school students. It was amazing. I mean, I was on my high horse. You couldn't get me a damn thing. Listen, I was at a moment where I was like, I'm not arguing with anybody about video games. You can't tell me anything. I'm at the peak, career peak. This is second week in February. Second week of March, our world shut down.
Yep.
From there, spoiler alert. From after the Super Bowl, I was preparing to launch an esports league for YMCA.
Oh, fun.
So 13 YMCAs in the greater Kansas City area, 10 YMCAs in the greater Wichita area to pilot what is now the Community Esports League for them. I mean, I wasn't going to let the product die, so I was going to rebrand it like, hey, we're going to keep this. But the week that I had scheduled for all of the YMCAs to come into Kansas City, and I was going to host them at the Parlor to give them their presentation. 2 days before they were supposed to meet, that's when Mayor Lucas was like, shut it all down.
Yep.
I was like, wow, guys. I was like, do you understand that when I landed that deal, that was the start of getting to 1 million kids playing in an esports league? Let's do a little math for a second. So the league charges $25 a person to play in the league. Bringing the YMCA on the client is the potential to have that league sold to 1 million kids across the nation. I would literally be doing this interview from a yacht right now.
Not even a yacht, just like the boat in the pool of the yacht.
Yeah, my own satellite sending me signal to broadcast this to you. Like, yeah,
from your own internet.
Yeah, from the backseat of the same Tesla that's in space right now. Like,
yeah.
But things happen. World shut down. We still had to prevail. So I talked to my partners about who are all very brilliant individuals. They were like, here's the thing, Abdul, like nothing happens sporadically. Everything happens for a reason. You were thinking too small. Like YMCA is a phenomenal organization, but if you would have given that idea to the YMCA, you couldn't give it to anybody else. What if they dropped the ball and didn't operate it well? So you're like, think larger. I was like, oh, let's create the Kansas City Esports League as a pride and true Kansas City. They was like, that's way too small.
Yeah.
I know you think Kansas City is big, but it's way too small. They were like, if I live in Nebraska, I don't want to play in the Kansas City Esports League. I'm a Huskers fan, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you trying to do with it? I'm like, I want to make esports more accessible to all and provide opportunities for players to play in the urban core. They're like, what's the number one issue? The cost. No urban core kid wants to pay $100 to play in a Rainbow Six tournament.
Right.
They're like,
especially not when they don't got McDonald's money.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're like, make a low entry point for it. They were like, well, here, budget guys, how about you figure out what's the number? They were like, well, $20. I was like, okay. No. They're like $20 is like the key number for the league pass. I was like, but my issue is a league that cheap hurts organizations like you guys. Like if I have a league where I'm giving out $4,000 to players, for in grand prizes, no one is going to want to play in our community organization league that are charging $50 for $250 prize pools.
Mm-hmm.
So we built in our referral program or kickback program or rewards program, whatever you want to call it. The league charges $25, and on every league pass sold, we return $5 back to our community partners, and all they have to do is advertise. We do everything else. We do all the hardware. We put up the prize pool. But what that does, that allows us to enable our communities to continue hosting competitive events and not have to compete with the region's like largest esports supplier like us. Mm-hmm. Because you guys are important. Without you, we fail. Like if my league is doing so well that folks no longer want to play in your casual competitive events and your group fails, where do I find another collective of gamers at? Like right. for us Kansas Cityans, we have Party Invite, we have Show Me Skills. Like you guys are Kansas City, the region's champions. And I'm like we have to enable you all financially to continue to be able to put on events in a time where there's no longer like venue fees for like weeklies and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Like this is the way to do it. And then we just continue using our marketing avenues for like putting up the prize pools, like Hey Cerner or as an example. They're not a sponsor, that's why I keep using them as an example.
Yeah. I was gonna say it'd be an odd one to have as a sponsor. Like they got the money for it, but it's just the product they're selling
is. So I heard you were dropping our name.
Right.
Are you trying to like work something out? Like what's going on?
I have my own feelings about the Evil Empire.
Yeah.
But we were like, yeah, you want to advertise to a bunch of people, give us money. And for us, we were like, cool, we'll take this money, put it in the prize pool. Now you guys can win a bunch of money for a small amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know that Evil Empire. I was gonna say, you know that Evil Empire. They also own Sporting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that check's already cashed, so. They hey me. The checks from these people are already cashed.
That's funny.
But what you're saying is during the pandemic, like to answer the question, is you don't have the gatherings anymore, but you just changed your focus. Instead of worrying about local events, you worried about fostering community so that when everything opens back up, you'll have the community come back to those live events, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So to that end, I notice on your Discord, I'll see. I bet I could pull one up right now, but I remember a while back there was some casual events. So traditionally, esports means Rainbow Six Siege. It means Street Fighter. It means
Overwatch.
Anything in between. I mean, usually a shooter or a fighting game. I mean, there are other games that you can be very competitive with,
Tricky
but those
Towers.
are usually like the mainstays. Yeah, Tricky Towers.
Rocket League.
To my definition, an esport is any game where you can have two or more individuals compete for one person to be ranked better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
We can play virtual chess against each other and compete, and that can be considered an esport.
Mm-hmm.
They become huge esports when the publisher supports it. When they start having, worlds or a finals or invitational or whatnot, that's when it becomes a huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I remember back here a while ago when Phasmophobia of all games was pretty hot. I remember seeing a speedrun competition for Phasmophobia. I remember seeing something for Among Us, and I thought that was really interesting because I was just like, well, these are games that I never expected to see. Like, I didn't enter into the Phasmophobia one, but I was interested in it because it's like, okay, it takes this casual game that I like. It also has the multiplayer element where I can play with my friend, and we can find a way to min-max it, right? To make it competitive. And I appreciated that. I know that's not like the main thing that you guys are doing with the United Esports Association, but I really like to see that because as we've discussed over the years, there are a lot of people that are in the world of gaming that don't necessarily they're not amazing at Call of Duty, right? Maybe they want to compete, or maybe they just want to be in a competitive atmosphere. But allowing people to participate, even if they're not going to win first place, even if they're not even going to compete, but they just want to play with each other. I remember I learned when I ran the cross-up fighting game tournament with our friend Devin that I don't play fighting games, so running a competitive tournament was a new world to me, and it had never occurred to me that a big draw of a successful tournament is that you're bringing talent in from an outside community, and now you've brought fresh blood in. So now the best person from St. Louis shows up, and now you get to practice with that person because you can only improve if your master is better than you. If everybody's playing against the same people and they're all exactly as good, but then you bring somebody in like a big fish from out of town, now everybody has a chance to, test their worth, test their mettle.
Yeah, I learned that too. I learned that from the Smash community. They wanted to have invitationals, so of course, like Ray Quaza in Kansas City was probably one of the best Smash players in the area. He would just massacre people week over week over week, but the collective weren't getting better because he was the best that they were able to play. So they really taught me the value of like, okay, we should probably consider to get someone in from another state in here to play against these other folks or play against him, because even Ray needs to get better by competing against a higher tier of players. I don't know. I'm sure he probably is still the best. Who knows? The Smash community isn't the most social media active group of players outside of their their communication channels like Discord or their Facebook groups. Believe for me in my direct vision line for the communication is usually in there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's where I learned the value of it is through them.
Well, I tell you what, let me ask another question that it's related to kind of the tie between what you're doing in gaming and what we're doing in gaming is that over the years, I've gotten a lot of questions from either parents or friends, and they say, hey, I don't know anything about esports, but my nephew is really big into Fortnite. Is there somewhere like that I can make this productive for him? Where do I start? So with you specifically, with your organization, but with esports in general, if somebody's listening from Florida right now, if they have a nephew who's really big into Fortnite, or playing something else competitively that somebody wants to get their kid structure for it, what would you suggest? Where do you look? Where do you start? I mean, you mentioned that the Smash community can be hard to break into unless you're looking in the right places. You can't find where the information and the discussions are. But an organization like you provides a place that people can approach and get started. So where do they start? Where do they go?
Yeah, so that question, when I get that question a lot too, from those parents or guardians that are like, I don't know anything about it. I let them know you don't have to know anything about it. Your kid is happy, enjoys it, right? I like support what makes your kid happy. It could be drugs. Take video games. take video games. Like, hey, if you're gonna pick something that your kid's gonna compulse over, let it be something healthy that helps them foster healthy emotional relationships with their peers. Your kid knows everything that you need to know about it. But when it comes to the information, anybody who says they can't find it is a liar. They have to be rocking a flip phone, no internet at their house, because it's everywhere. You can't go to Buffalo Wild Wings now without seeing esports commercials. Oh, yeah. It's everywhere. But right here in our backyard, we have the largest esports organization for high school students, literally right here in the River Market. That's a high school esports league, Now Generation Esports. Mm-hmm. For us, Kansas City is at least their biggest competitor, Generation Esports. Out of Play Versus is their biggest competitor out of the West Coast. They have their differences, but they have the exact same goal. It's to be the resource for high school and now junior high school students to have access to competitive gameplay. So it's there, and they're in over 2,000 schools. The beauty is we're not getting more high schools, we're not getting more colleges, so they're in enough that they've saturated the market. The only problem is funding isn't there for some of our schools, so that's still an issue they're trying to get over. But that is the number one resource for youth. So under 18 and under, when it comes to the younger adults that are exploring post-secondary education, we have our own collegiate association. We have the Unified Collegiate Esports Association. There's still NACE. There's NACAB. They're all there, and they're huge organizations that we all partner with the same companies too. So we may make an announcement that we're working with AIM Labs this week. 2 weeks later, they'll announce it. Nothing wrong with it. We want them to give the players across the nation to have the same experience. And we don't have 1 million followers on our channels collectively, so we're not able to get our information to everybody. We'd love to get there one day, but if we have 100,000 and they have 100,000, please partner with all of us, because our goal is to connect people and through video games. Unite. That's why we rebranded as the Unified Esports Association, because that's our goal. We want it to be clear that it's not compete people. It's not provide. It's really not about the competition is our entry point, but it's really about uniting people. So anybody who says they can't find it is lazy or lying. It's like I'm hungry. How do I find food? You find it every time. We find it every day. Even for the people who are less fortunate, we still find those resources because it's right ahead. It's right in front of us. No,
Here they come.
And no tears, so whatever. They're alive still. So
Well, then one last one. This is about you specifically. How did it feel to leave a corporate job to go work for yourself full time when you founded Local Legends Gaming?
So most people don't know I got fired. I got fired from the Federal Reserve Bank in a blaze of glory, and I deserved it. I completely deserved it.
What did you do? Rob them?
Hell, I mean, you go to Federal Reserve, you go to prison for robbing the Federal Reserve.
That's like federal crimes.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve had their own police staff, like own jurisdiction of police inside the Federal Reserve. So there's no robbing them. That Ocean's 11 stuff, is a facade. I'm also not built for prison. I'm too small. No, thank you. So I was working at Lexmark, now rebranded as Highland Software, when I started Local Legends, and I would work my job, and I would build my company at the same time. My focus was always building my company, so I would give them the bare minimum to keep getting my salary, having health insurance for my family and stuff like that, and I would use them as seed money. So I get my wages, take care of my bills, and I would use the rest of my money to seed the business. And then my wife and I decided we want to grow our family. So I applied for the Federal Reserve Bank because I knew the quality of their health insurance, and I got the job there. I was 20 years younger than my nearest coworker. So there was nothing I could relate with them about in life. I worked for a department called Cadre, where we developed solutions for the nation's economists. 20 of the nation's economists sat on our floor. So the windows you see on the Federal Reserve Bank, these are all people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they set the interest rate for the nation. I worked there for the health insurance. My wife had a kid. It cost us $0 to have the kid. That's how much.
Wow.
That's how much great the health insurance is. So talk about finessing the system. For me, I'm like, babe, I will hate going to work to make this free. And lucky I got another cute kid out of it,
So there's a payoff, yeah.
Unfortunately for me, the more popular I got in the city and the more newspaper articles I was getting in, my coworkers could tell that my business was getting more successful. So they knew that I wasn't building a career here. They were just like, he's not going to be here for long. So anytime I'd be like slacking on my work, they'd pull me in and like, hey, are you struggling or anything? Like, we noticed like you're not quite focused. Is it your business? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I have a great separation of personal and corporate, so I don't understand why we're talking about my personal life here. So when I was building the gaming center, we opened in the winter. I would use all of my lunch breaks to go meet with you guys. Like when I was courting people to work for the gaming center or make relationships, it was always at noon. Because if you look geographically, the distance between the Federal Reserve Bank and the Main Street location is like 4 or 5 blocks up the street, like literally a beeline up the street. So I was never building like a relationship with my coworkers because I wasn't eating lunch with them. So I would always leave, and sometimes I'd conveniently be late because I needed to build the business. So more and more news articles came out. I finally put a grand opening flyer out there, and I knew it was over for my job at the Federal Reserve Bank. I mean, they started treating me like ish. They were just like, hey, we're going to have to let you go. I'm like, great. You guys, what do you need from me? Because I got business to go handle at the gaming center. Every hour I'm here, I got to pay somebody to run that. So can we cut this conversation short so I can leave? So yeah, but social media. If you tell the world that you're leaving a job, everyone thinks that I walked out, flicked everyone off, and when I was like, no, I mean, I would absolutely, if somebody would hire me today, I'd work a job. I like money. I say that because there's a stigma that's like you got to take this leap of faith to become a full-time entrepreneur to be successful. That is a stupid lie. Make as much money as you possibly can, whether you're working fast food, in a service industry, and building your company. Like, build your way to wealth until you're making so much money that you don't need it anymore. So yeah, I didn't take a leap of faith. I just never went back to work because I was making enough money. I didn't need to. My very first time I led my class, my class esports as a career, I made my salary in 4 hours, and I was like, I'll never work for anyone ever again. Well, I could get back 36 hours of my life. Like, if you guys, God, I shouldn't say this. If you guys go back to like the grand opening pitch of the local legends, the gaming center, you'll notice I have a bald spot right here. My hair literally fell out from the stress of balancing. It's a shiny ass bald spot too. Like it was smooth. It was smooth. I think it's called alopecia is what the term was for it. I had to use like a topical cream to get my hair to grow out. That's why my hair is long now, because now that it's back, I'm never gonna let it go away.
Don't let it go.
But it was stress induced. So I just learned, I was like, man, my personal health, like health as wealth, is so much more valuable. So a year later, when me and Ramsey started engaging each other about like bringing the company together, I think it would be so much better if we were one entity instead of two. The footprint I serve here in Missouri and the footprint you serve there in Kansas, we can really curve the region and be the region's supplier for esports events and resources. He was substantially more funded than I was, so I was like, "Hey, buy me." I don't got the money to buy you, so I ended up allowing local legends to be acquired. But outside of the money, I mean, we had the same mission. Look on our website; it's all about uniting people and providing opportunity. So if you look, when I talk my ish on the internet, can we cuss on this? Is this
we've already been there.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
when I get on the internet and I talk my shit, like it's always about like I want to provide an opportunity for my people. My reality is I'm a black ass man with a black ass wife with 3 black ass kids. So when people are like, "Hey, who do you do this for?" I'm like, "Black people." I'm black. like, who do you think? And I don't hesitate because I'm black. I wouldn't need to do this if the opportunity was equal. You know, like esports is a highly dominated industry by white nation men. Because people are like, "Damn, we made the industry so well for us. We left out this market of people." So that's why everyone's on this whole train of like diversity and inclusion. But for me, I'm like, I've always been black, you know, like I don't gotta do anything different. So coming on board on the UAA brand, I bring that value. If I say I want to host an event that benefits Black Lives Matter, you guys believe it, you know, there's no question about it because I've always been about it. Yeah. And that adds value.
You always said, I've seen you say a bunch of times, like, if people want to preach, diversity and empowerment, then check who's on their board of directors.
Yeah. Before anyone who's doing a diversity campaign, ask them to post a picture of their company leadership. I tell Randy, like, our biggest flex is the diversity. We have men, women, black, white, Asian, like across the board on our leadership. We can say whatever the hell we want to say on the internet because we have people who live that life every day.
Yeah.
But if we look around, we have people who try to run equality campaigns. You don't have equality in your company.
Right.
So who are you running this campaign for? If you want my black ass dollar, say you want my dollar. I'll tell you what you need to give me for it. So that's really different, and that's one of our superpowers. Of course, Ramsey is like, he's super nice guy, so he'll never say it. But for me, I'm like, hey, fuck y'all. Like, I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. This is
I mean, you can do whatever you want when you're in charge.
Yeah. When you start creating your own money, you say and do what you want. But at the same time, I like my people, so try to keep it as tasteful as possible.
Well, cool. Well, let's do our community spotlight. The rest of the podcast so far. So Abdul, you've picked out a few questions here. So let's start from the top. So what is your earliest gaming memory?
Tecmo Super Bowl on the NES Classic.
Yep.
Me and my family, we had 2 TVs in the house. We had our upstairs family TV, and then we had our garage TV. My dad would watch I come from foreigners. My mom's from St. Croix and my dad's from Nigeria, so they're always watching CNN, which is very strange. But I guess when you're from another country, you want to see what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
So me and my brother, he's 4 years older than me. His name is also Abdul. It's AbdulRasheed. My name is really AbdulRasheed. Okay. Life lessons for people watching. I know it sounds weird. Anyone who says their name is Abdul, it's never just Abdul. There's always another part to it.
Yeah.
So there's AbdulRasheed, Razak, Rashid, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm AbdulRasheed. My brother's AbdulRazak. My name means the guide. My brother's name means the provider. So history lesson. I think it's here. So I would play Tecmo Super Bowl with my brother, countless hours in the garage. Who won doesn't really matter. It's not important. It's in our past. But, my best memory, man. And my brother's 4 years older than me, so we were only in the same school for 1 year of our life until college. So because you spend more hours at school than you do at home, we didn't have the most great relationship because we were always away from each other. Mm-hmm. Those are my best memories until we got to college, and then we have college life memories, which are a lot more.
Who could remember?
Yeah,
who could remember?
Too many plastic bottles of alcohol in those days for remember any of it. But yeah, those are the best memories. Tecmo Super Bowl.
Well, then is Tecmo the answer for the next question, which is there a video game that made you fall in love with games?
Diablo 2. Those cinematic trailers are burned in the back of my head. I can visit Tristram over and over again and fight off hordes of ghouls to the end of time. I will wait for Blizzard as long as they want me to for another variation of the game. And I will buy it on every platform and play over and over again.
Well, we've got good news for you. So
right.
There's two
coming soon.
So, all-time favorite game. But I've got some honorable mentions. I like games that have raunchy vocabulary, so I'll play Borderlands, Call of Duty. I like the shit talking in Destiny from the characters.
You're any game that have Outriders.
I was about to say the same thing.
Oh, it's written down. I'm literally going to download it. I think it's just a reflection of who I am. Most people get to see my professional side when I'm doing like a 1 million cuts presentation. But most folks don't understand that I dance on bar furniture, drunk as hell on the weekends too. So those games really resonate with me when I don't have to like wear a button-up shirt.
Right. Then single player or multiplayer?
Oh no, I need human interaction. Yeah, I am not built to be by myself. Hence 3 children and a wife.
Yeah.
So, but no multiplayer. I do have a rule though that I have to play through the campaign first before I go online.
Yeah.
I need to feel the storyline. So by the time I get online, everyone else is level 30, 50 prestige and stuff like that before I get online. But I have lived through it and I kind of find myself in the character, but multiplayer all day.
Right on. How about what difficulty do you play on?
It
So
varies.
you chose these questions. I wonder, because if you're a multiplayer guy, so you're going through campaigns, probably Borderlands, Diablo, like you mentioned. Do you roll through those campaigns by yourself? They are campaigns, but you could technically do them with friends.
It depends on the game. So first-person shooters are not very enjoyable on the hardest level. But games like Diablo, I will absolutely run the risk of dying and having to start the game over. Yeah, first-person shooters, online is hell virgin. So because Call of Duty is one of my favorite games, there are times of the day that you can play. You'll get a different class of players. Mm-hmm. So during the day, I can go beat up on your nephews and your friends' kids online day and night. But after 9 p.m. is when the real play.
That's when you lean forward in your chair and you're like, okay, game on.
Yeah.
And these are people who dog you out when you kill them. You hear that last video clip, that last voice clip, and they're talking crazy to you.
Oh my god, that is such a cool mechanic. I love that.
And I'm also the person who donates that voice clip to them too. If I get killed, you're gonna hear about yourself. That's why I don't stream often, because I need you guys to know the shiny part of me and not be cussing people out. So, but yeah, it depends on the title, honestly.
All right, and then if you've got a game with stealth in it, do you go loud or you go stealthy?
I'm through the glass. When it's Call of Duty, I'm right through the window. What door?
Yup.
through the window.
A man after my own heart. Yeah, I got asked. I don't play as much I don't play Call of Duty in quite a while now. But when I would play with randos, constantly I heard, "Okay, who jumped through a window?"
Yeah. If I want to be quiet, that's what dead silence is for. I'm going through the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, people are snipers in the game, and if you're echoing the game, so don't talk to me about anything about being quiet if you're a person who mains with a sniper gun. No.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, cool. Well, that's our community spotlight. Abdul, where can people find you? If you want to be found online, I guess is really the question.
I hope the Federal Reserve isn't listening.
Or it doesn't have to be you. I mean, where should people go to check out your work? Oh, King Dula.
The Federal Reserve can go to hell. They can find me flicking them off because I will never work in corporate America again. So, but when I'm not lazy, I stream. All of my channels are King Dula. My I is a 1, so K1NGDULA.
King Dula, the Mac ruler.
Yeah, so then if you have the energy, my first name has 12 letters in it. So my name is written down on social media. It's AbdulRasheed.
I tell you what, when I Googled your name, I found you pretty quick.
Yeah. God, I hate that.
My name I'm the entire first page of Google when you Google my name. So I feel your pain.
Yeah, I am very Googleable for good and bad reasons. I have some very shiny, some phenomenal articles out there. I also have the shitty ones out there that the ambulance chasers write about you. But follow me on social media. I interact with everybody, so talk shit with caution, because I talk it back.
All right. Well, Abdul, thanks for coming on the show. And afterwards, we should talk about how I get a sponsorship from these guys on my T-shirt. So I can get big on esports.
See, the reason I wore my Splice one is because I don't have a local Legends game one. So
we updated. There are UEA shirts now, and the Local Legends logo is on the back. So whenever I see you guys in person, I'm happy to get you guys one.
Sweet.
Yeah, more than happy to get you those. I'm not going to wear one shirt at a time, so you can have one.
Bet.
Devi, do you want to let everybody know where they can follow Party Invite?
Yeah, so if you go to linktr.ee/partyinvite, you'll be able to find all of our links to all of our various social platforms, including YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, et al. So please come and find us because we would love to have you.
Awesome. Abdul, it was great having you on. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for listening.
All right. Peace. Bye.
Or however our theme song goes.